Alright, so for this video, let's take a look here at the actual research paper assignment. Now, we've been talking about this and we've been technically working on this for some time now, but I want to take a moment here to sort of take official look at the actual research paper assignment, deadlines, and things like that. So at this point, you've done report 1, you've made your graphic novel selection, you're working on report 2, you're looking at your research question, potentially what might be your working thesis statement. This is where you need to be. That's great. Now, report 3 is going to be an annotated bibliography. I've already got a post up and a video about that, but let's talk about the actual research paper. So it's located here, okay? And I've got a direct link that I posted, so you'll see I have one about the group work that's up. I've got the report 3, and now we're going to go take a little bit of shortcut right over here to the actual assignment sheet about the research paper. Now, if you are still struggling with report 2 and finding a research question, I have provided for people who get stuck some generic ones. So this is why I'm introducing this now, is I do want you guys to go ahead, and if you're still struggling with that research question, these are some generic ones that I have sometimes offered in the past if for some reason you get stuck. For example, should blank, insert graphic novel selection, be considered appropriate for use in a college classroom? And you'll see here, pick any type of classroom. You could say high school, middle school, that kind of thing. So this would allow you to ask the question about appropriateness of a certain work at certain levels, and you could then argue yes or no. Okay? Should blank graphic novel be considered worthy of someone wanting to read it? For what purpose might they want to read it? Does it have merit? This is a variation on the idea of, is this something that someone else should be reading? Not just you, but other people. Would you recommend it? Does it have some sort of merit that you think would be worthy of other people reading it? That kind of question. So the idea here is you're sort of making an evaluative assertion about whether or not it's worth someone else's time, not just yours. Should blank insert graphic novel here be adopted as a piece of literature? So could it be considered a work of literature? All right. Could it be, the next one here is, could it be considered a work of art? And insert argument of graphic novel, something worth people should care about. And this last one is really just sort of a clumsy, clunky version of the idea of, is there some sort of argument that this graphic novel is making, and do you want to express agreement or disagreement with that argument? Classic example that I like to use, and if you look back at the example about the one that I did, if you go back and look at the topic question statement post I made, I used that example of Flex Mentalo, and I actually used this last one in my formation there. Now, down beneath here, I've got some basic information and layout of the paper, and then I've got some special modifications I want to mention here. So, first of all, typically this would be an 8 to 10 page assignment. You scroll down here, because of the 6-week nature of the class, I'm only requiring 6 pages. 6 to 10 roughly. And equivalently, I'd like you to match that with roughly that same number of sources. So if I ask you to write me an 8 to 10 page paper, I'm looking for you to probably give me minimally 8 to 10 sources. So there should be a correlation there. But again, because of the 6-week nature of the nature of this, I'm really only requiring 6 to 10. So I'm lowering it a little bit because I understand that we do have the fact that this is a quicker, faster development. Okay. A format, this will be done in MLA format. We'll be talking a little bit more. I think I plan on working in some more MLA discussions. I've been working them into the discussion forums we've been doing so far. As we go along, I've been trying to give you guys feedback based on what I see you posting there. Also, quick side note, please make sure that you're keeping current with the forums. Okay, you need to be making sure that if you are posting and you're running behind, please post in the weeks that we are currently on, which at this point is week 3. Okay. Worry about the later forums later. Be current, okay? Because mostly I'd like you guys posting on a Wednesday, your original post, and then replying to each other by Saturday. All right. Back to the research paper. So I'll be talking more, and I've been using those as an opportunity to discuss and have you apply some MLA formatting that we'll continue to work on. And I want you to note here that we use what's called the classical model, where there's a general breakdown of an introduction, background, your argument, your counter-argument, conclusion, and works cited page. We'll be diving into this more because tomorrow I will be posting a forum about the writing workshops, which is a optional element to this course. And I'll be talking more about how that applies, but it's basically a way for you to put together your paper as we go along, but it will also have it is up to you to participate if you so choose, but I will talk more about that in another post coming tomorrow. Okay. Down beneath here, I've got some general helpful things here about things, whether you document paraphrase as well as direct quotes in your essay. You may feel as though the whole paper is a series of parentheses, but this is talking about overquoting information in a paragraph, and this is simply me reminding you about anytime you summarize things or you insert information from a source, always make sure to quote, cite it using parenthetical citations, okay? And then beneath here, I have the important due dates. Now, we'll be working on the paper, and if you want to go ahead and get started on this, I'll have some stuff at the end of this week to sort of encourage you on this. But you'll see here, Sunday, January 23rd through Tuesday, June 25th. This is what's going to be called the peer review period. This means that during this period of time, I will have discussion forums open that week. In fact, it will probably be the only discussion forum probably going on that week. During that period, you'll see it runs from Sunday to Tuesday. You should post your paper or what you have of your paper in that forum during that time frame, and then you will be asked to comment on 2 of your fellow classmates, as well as hopefully have classmates give you feedback. The purpose being you'll be giving each other constructive feedback aimed at making improvements to your paper so that when Wednesday night comes around, June 26th, you will have a revised paper. So this will be your first draft. Second draft, you'll turn into me. So you'll get first draft, will get feedback from your colleagues and your peers in the class. Second draft, you'll use that, then revise. Your second draft is the one I will look at and give you feedback. And then Friday, June 28th is when you will turn it in for its final submission. Now, I don't think I have it here. I used to, but I want you to notice that you need to participate. So let me emphasize this. You need to be participating in all parts of this process. For example, the peer review period, that means posting your draft of your paper and making at least 2 comments, not 2 comments, but replying to 2 of your colleagues by looking at their papers and giving them feedback. That earns you 50 points. Excuse me again. That's 50 points that you earn simply by posting your paper and looking and giving comments and feedbacks on at least 2 of your classmates. 50 points. Turning in your rough draft. And now this means a complete rough draft, which means it begins with your title, your heading and your title and your introduction, and ends with your works cited page. Simply by turning that in, you get 50 points. So that's a total of 100 points. The final draft will be graded out of 100 points. Now, I want to stop for a second and remind you this. Now, if you've done everything you need to do, so this includes participating, in the peer review period, you got your 50 points. You turn in a complete rough draft. Even if it's not the full 6 pages or 6 to 7 pages, even if it still needs work, that's okay. That's 50 points. All right. And then let's say you turn your final draft and maybe it didn't do as well, and let's say you got an 82. What's an 82? That's a B. All right. Well, that's not actually what you got because it's actually out of 200 points. So what you really got was an 82. That would be if it was out of 100, but you got another 100 points. So you actually have 182. Does anybody want to do the math there? Well, that's 91. If I take 182 and I divide it by 2, that's 91. So rather than getting a B, you actually got an A. Okay? Now, this is a double-edged sword, and let me explain what I mean by that. That's if you do all the parts, and let's say you put in your best effort, but somehow, it doesn't come through at the end, okay? But let's say that last final draft, somehow, let's say you still got that 82, but you didn't do the peer review, and you didn't do the rough draft. Well, that's not an 82 out of 100 again. That's actually an 82 out of 200, which means I divide that in half. It's a 41, which means it's an F. So the message I want you to take away from this is you need to participate in all the parts. In the peer review, turning in a rough draft, submitting a final draft. Now, in case you need any more help Everything I've pretty much been talking about to the most part is submitted right here, except you can ignore this last part about the due dates, but you will see that that whole point thing I was talking about here is the bottom. Apologize, this is from an older class. And just to help you out a little bit more, I have included, now it's not perfect, a sample of what someone has done for me in the past. It at least can give you something to look at and get an idea of at least a general idea of what I would say or what I might be considering a fairly decent paper. Okay? Like I said, again, not perfect, but it's got some things. For example, right here, let's talk about this. This is a great example of an integrated quotation. So here is the title of the work. Watchmen plays on the different moral codes that each character acts upon, comma, although, open quote, ... Watchmen has characters with great power who are intensely flawed people, close quote. Here's the last name of the person, period. All right. So if you scroll through here, you can get a general idea. I would say, by the way, that this is like a B- paper. So it's not perfect, but here is even we got a works cited page. So here is information. Here's the actual graphic novel. Here's another article. Here is that person we were talking about. We just saw them above quoted. Okay. So I provide you a little bit of example to go along with this, right? So hopefully this will be something that if you have any questions about, please feel free to contact me or ask me if you need clarifications. But a lot of these parts here, the introduction to background, argument, counter-argument, conclusion, and works cited page, these will be fleshed out a little bit more and become a little bit more clear as we talk a little bit more about the writing workshop process that I will be addressing in a different video.